I made a video a few weeks ago about 120,000 permanent and Canadian citizens leaving Canada in 2026. I had a lot of comments asking, where are they going? Well, it's more than a trickle. For years, the idea of leaving Canada was a quiet conversation, something you only hear from a very few frustrated people. Not anymore. Now it's the mainstream reality, and the numbers are staggering. In 2025, official data shows over 120,000 Canadian citizens and permanent residents packed up and left for good. And that's only part of the story. The trend appears even larger when you include temporary residents who are also heading for the exits, which was another 500,000 people. This isn't just a brain drain anymore. It feels a full-blown exodus. And the pace isn't slowing down. Early data suggests that the trend is accelerating into 2026. This begs the question, what's echoing from coast to coast? Where is everybody going? What's the new promised land for those who feel Canada's dream is slipping through their fingers? Today, we are not just talking about why people are leaving. We are revealing where they are going. Based on the latest data, I am counting down the top 3 countries that are capturing the hearts of former Canadians. And I think some of the answers are going to surprise you. So before we get to the destinations, we have to tackle the biggest question. Why is this happening on a massive scale? Canada has long been sold as the global beacon of stability and opportunity. But for a growing number of people living here, the image is starting to crack. The number one driver. It's a single word you hear in every one of these conversations: affordability. The housing crisis has just hit a boiling point. A regular family home in the city like Toronto or Vancouver can easily top $1 million, while wages has not kept up. Rent is not any better, with basic one-bedroom apartment in the cities are around $2,000 a month. And this isn't just a big city problem anymore. It's a national crisis pricing people out of their own lives. Then you've got the job market. You might see headlines about job creation, but many skilled professionals and new immigrants cannot find a permanent, full-time job with good pay. They are working part-time or driving Uber on the side, putting their careers and financial goals on hold for many years. When you mix stagnant wages and relentless inflation, even with people with good jobs feel they are running in one place, or even worse, falling behind. And that's just not about the money. There's a growing feeling that the overall quality of life is just slipping by. Worries about a strained healthcare system, rising crime, and social tensions are chipping away at the sense of safety and community that once defined Canada. For so many, the dream that they were just sold doesn't line up anymore with reality that they are living. So, they are looking for alternatives. A life where the paycheck goes further and where owning a home just isn't a fantasy, and where a better quality of life feels possible. Now, let's get right down to it. Where are they finding this? Kicking off our countdown at number 3 is a place that might feel both familiar and world away. Based on OECD data, where about 7% of immigrating Canadians choosing it, is our number 3 destination, is the United Kingdom. At first glance, you might think this is just a lateral move. The UK has its own cost of living challenges, especially in London. But for many Canadians, it's all about strategic trade-offs. While London and Toronto might feel similar in cost, the UK also has countless affordable towns and cities in the North and Midlands and Scotland, where housing is much more reasonable. But the real game changer for many is work-life balance. In the UK, employees are legally entitled to a minimum of 28 paid vacation days per year. Compare that to the 2 weeks many new employees get in Canada, you are talking about a monumental shift in quality of life. It's a culture that truly values rest and travel. And travel is the other huge perk. For a Canadian, a trip over to Europe is a massive undertaking. For someone in the UK, a weekend in Paris, Rome, or Barcelona is completely doable. That easy access to different cultures is an incredible pull. Finally, for those in the fields like finance, tech, and creative arts, London is a global hub with career opportunities that can surpass what's available over here. It's a compelling package for anyone willing to trade Canadian space for European access. Coming in at number 2, attracting about 8% of Canadian immigrants, is a country that offers a radical change of scenery, climate, and cost. Mexico. For decades, Mexico has been a favorite vacation spot for Canadians. Now it's becoming a go-to for permanent move. The reason is incredibly simple. The cost of living. It's not just a little cheaper, it's a world of difference. On average, the overall cost of living in Canada is significantly higher than Mexico, with some estimates suggesting your money can stretch twice as far. Let's put that into perspective. Housing, the main driver of exodus, is dramatically more accessible. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center can be more than 50% cheaper in Mexico. Groceries are another area of huge relief, with fresh local produce costing a fraction of Canadian prices. This financial freedom completely transforms the lifestyle. Many Canadians who move into Mexico discover that they can afford to retire early, work part-time, or finally start that small business they have been dreaming of. Thriving expat communities in places like Lake Chapala, San Miguel, and Maya Riviera can provide a soft landing for newcomers. Of course, it's not without its challenges. You have to navigate the new language, a different bureaucracy, learn to dance, and even be mindful of safety. But for the growing number of Canadians just worn down by financial stress, the promise of a warm weather, vibrant culture, and life that they can actually afford makes Mexico an irresistible escape. We are about to reveal the number 1 country Canadians are flocking to, and the reasons they are incredibly telling. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have ever thought about leaving Canada, or you know someone who has, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Where would you go? Your story is part of the bigger picture, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of the next report. Alright, here it is, the number 1 spot. It's the country that has always been Canada's closest neighbor, biggest ally, and the main point of comparison. And now it's the top destination for those leaving. With nearly half of all immigrating Canadian citizens, a massive 48% are choosing it. The undisputed top destination is the United States of America. This probably isn't a total shock. The shared language and integrated economies has always made moving south a common. But the scale of this exodus is different. It's driven by the exact same pressures pushing people out of Canada in the first place: economic opportunity and lower cost of living. Now, that might sound strange, especially when you think about US healthcare costs. But let's break it down. On average, after-tax salaries tend to be higher in the US. Essentials like groceries, gas, and utilities are generally cheaper south of the border. But the single biggest is the housing. Yes, cities like New York and San Francisco are incredibly expensive. But the US has a vast number of affordable mid-sized cities and entire states where home ownership is still a realistic goal for the middle class. When you compare head-to-head, Canadians are often spending a much larger chunk of their income on basic living expenses than their American counterparts. Taxes also play a huge role. Between income tax, sales tax, and property tax, Canadians are often paying significantly more. This combination of higher take-home pay and lower expenses creates a powerful financial incentive. It is not just about getting by. It's about having the breathing room to save, invest, and build wealth. Something many Canadians feel is no longer possible in Canada. For all its own complexities, the American dream is proving to be a powerful magnet for Canadians who feel their own dream is now out of reach in Canada. The great Canadian exodus is flowing towards three destinations: the work-life balance in the UK, the radical affordability in Mexico, and overwhelmingly the economic opportunities in the United States. If you are planning to leave Canada and you have a house or condo to sell in the GTA, please give me a call. This is more than just a passing trend. It's a fundamental reevaluation of what it means to build life in Canada, when nearly half of those leaving choose the United States. It sends a clear message that the core issue of affordability and opportunity are at the heart of this movement. The Canadian dream is being weighed against the alternatives, and for a record number of people, is becoming short. This is a sign that the Canadian dream itself is on the line. And the real question now is, what needs to change to convince people to stay? How do we make Canada great again? Until next time, see you soon.